Welcome to the Good for Nothing podcast. We are back. I did one episode of this podcast and never returned, but we're back. I decided that this was the best thing to do with my free time, was to listen to myself talk with no guests or friends. So basically, I'm just talking to myself for about an hour, maybe more, maybe less, not sure yet. But yeah, in the future, I might have some friends on. I might have some guests. If I do, let me know if that's a good idea. Also, if I know you personally, let me know if you wanna guest star, because I would love to talk to some people. We have one hell of an episode today. There's a lot of stuff going down in the world of comic books, geek stuff. So I'd say let's just get right into it. But first, I just want to say hello one more time. Anyway, let's just get right into it. So first up, we have the trailer for Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods. This trailer was, it was alright. I think it was fine. It kind of does exactly what I fear the Batman v Superman trailer did. And it gave us pretty much the entire plot of the film. We don't know that yet because the movie's not out, but just the way the trailer is structured, it feels as though it gave us the first, second, and third act. Like, it gave us a summarized version of every act, and the trailer is kind of broken up into acts. Like, act number 1, we see Billy Batson as Shazam talking about how he's had his powers for a few years, how him and his family have been saving the city as the Shazam family. So it confirms a little bit of a time gap between the first movie and the first film in the second film. So it's going in real time. Then the second act starts. We see this big dragon. Billy fights the dragon. God dang it, I don't know his name. The dude with the crutches gets kidnapped, and then into the third act we go with a final battle. Billy has to make a big sacrifice. His costume gets all burnt up. He has a staff, and he's like, Shazam! Shazam! He says, Shazam! And then makes a sacrifice. And I'm pretty sure that's how the entire movie goes. I'm pretty confident that that's the entire thing. Now, I'll be honest, the first Shazam movie is pretty good. Right at the time, we were in a dark state for the DC universe. We were all, suffering the consequences of watching Joss Whedon's Justice League, the Suicide Squad, not the Suicide Squad, but Suicide Squad 2016 and Batman v Superman, and we were all just in a really dark place. And then Shazam came out, right? And it was pleasantly surprising. We all love Zachary Levi and his childish antics, and he did a great job. He brought that character to life. This movie looks very mid. It's not gonna surprise people. Just from the look of the trailer, it's not gonna be on anyone's top 10 movies of 2023 list. It's definitely not going to be on mine. I don't care. And that's another problem with the current slate of movies. I don't care about any of them. I don't care about these movies. And it's because of James Gunn's takeover of DC, right? He fired everyone. Everyone's being recast. And I do want to talk about that briefly, because Jason Momoa and Zachary Levi, the two people with movies coming out, are saying that they're fine. They're not being fired. They're not being recasted. I have my theories about that. It could be one of two things. One, they're actually not being fired, which is a stupid decision on James Gunn's part. As everyone knows, he fired Henry Cavill, and everyone is very broken up about that. And that does suck. That's a terrible sacrifice that had to be made for this new DC universe. But we're going to get a younger Superman, brand new Superman movie, brand new Batman movie, all these things. And the first few projects in the first chapter of the DC universe is going to be announced within, as of recording, the next 5 days. The next 5 days, we're going to be getting the first part of the slate announced. We're going to see what we're getting. And I'm pretty confident the first movie we're going to get is a Superman movie. But with that, is a terrible choice. If you keep them, that's a terrible choice. Because, like, you lost the poster boy. You know, for years, everyone was begging Warner Brothers to bring Henry Cavill back, right? They put out Black Adam, which was another mid-movie, but the end credit scene has Superman. And everyone is super excited and celebrating. And Henry Cavill posts a heartfelt message. He's like, I am back as Superman. And a few weeks later, James Gunn is announced as the CEO with Peter Safran. And we're all like, this is great news. And then Henry gets fired. He posts out a thing saying, I'm no longer Superman. It was a good run. Adios. James Gunn and Peter Safran get, rightfully so, backlash for that, because it does suck. You know, actually not rightfully so. That's wrong of me to say. They don't deserve that. They have a vision, and Henry Cavill wasn't a part of that vision. But if you keep Jason Momoa and you keep Zachary Levi, then I think it's right. It's right to hate on them for that. That's a terrible choice. Please do not keep them. If you're gonna keep Jason Momoa, make him Lobo. Don't. That's another thing. Okay, I'm derailing a bunch, but I just need to talk about everything so far. Jason Momoa put out a clip in an interview where he says, nobody else is gonna play Aquaman, and I am capable of playing other characters as well. Meaning Lobo, because he's teasing that he is going to play that character. Fantastic choice for Lobo, by the way. That should have been who he is from the jump, because if you watch Justice League, he is Lobo. He is Lobo in an Aquaman costume. That's all he is. He's a bro. He's perfect for it. Don't let him keep playing Aquaman. No. Don't let him do that. Get him out of there. And again, Zachary Levi also said that he's fine, as far as he knows. And this leads me into my theory. Option number 2, Peter Safran and James Gunn are doing a little bit of a shady thing. They are leading these actors on, telling them what they want to hear, because they have movies coming out. And they need those actors to promote these movies. They need them to post them on Instagram. They need them to do the interview circuit, go around the world saying that go watch this movie. If they know that they're being fired, there's a chance that they don't advertise the movie, right? So they're just telling them what they want to hear, giving them goodie bags, inviting them on vacation, saying, yeah, you could play this character. Also, Jason Momoa, you want to play another character? But then once their movies are out, once the promotion is over, we'll get the announcement that they're gone. I am pretty confident that's what's happening. Like almost 100% confident that's what's happening. And if it's not, then I will be right there on the kind of hating James Gunn train. Not to the extent of the Twitter hashtag fire James Gunn. No. He has so many good projects out there, and he's such a good director, screenwriter, everything, that I have complete faith in his DC universe. I just think that I will hate just a wee bit on him if he chooses to keep some actors and fire ones that we actually want. I'm grateful he got rid of Ben. Actually, he didn't get rid of Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck was already out the door. He didn't. That's besides the point. No, he didn't want to play Batman. It's whatever. But, yeah, Shazam trailer. That it was all right. I don't think it's much. I got I don't even remember what the last thing I said about Shazam was. Anyway, it's going to be fine. I'm not invested in these movies at all because of the new universe. I just want the new one to start, but unfortunately it's not going to start until after Aquaman 2 is released. That's what James Gunn said. Aquaman 2 comes out when? Is that this year? Hopefully it's this year. I would like to see a new movie next year for the new DCU. That's being very, very optimistic. Also, I'm pretty confident the first movie is going to be Superman. James Gunn's already writing the script for it. 100% it's going to be Superman. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. Do I have faith in the future of the DC universe? Of course. Of course. I mean, Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad are two of the best DC projects we've gotten ever, in my opinion. So, James Gunn writing a Superman movie, not directing but writing, I think it's going to be a solid start to the universe. Also, Robert Pattinson's Batman is not going to be the Batman in that universe. They're going to continue the Elseworld Matt Reeves stuff, but also cast a new Batman, as far as we know, for the new universe. I assume closer to Superman's age, so another younger Batman. But hopefully they lean more into the comic booky stuff and introduce Robin and all that stuff. But again, I'm going off the rails a little bit. I do think it's a bright future for the DC universe. So next up, a little bit more of news is that Invincible officially has a window of release for season 2. We got a little bit of a teaser trailer. No content from the season, but it's a little bit of a meta teaser trailer where Seth Rogen's character, Alan the Alien, I think is his name, and Invincible Mark are sitting at the burger place that Mark works at, and Alan the Alien is they're chatting and he's asking where he's been, and Invincible is the husk. I don't think that's the right word, but he's kind of the husk for the writer's room and the animation department, and he's saying what they've been up to and why it's taking so long. And it's all new animation. It's a whole new story. They have to write the whole thing because it's not an exact adaptation of the comic. It sticks close to it, but it changes some things. So it's like we're working hard, and they end it with saying that it's going to come out in late 2023. Not going to lie, a little bit disappointed with that. I mean, come on. Like I was expecting. I would have liked. Okay, so I was expecting like a March. Like they were gonna be like, and guess what? It comes out in March, super soon. I at least would have liked to seen like summer, but now we have to wait until probably like October or November, like late 2023. What else could that mean? That sucks. But at least we're getting it, and a more. Well, first off, the animation looks fantastic. It looks way better. It's bouncy, and as they talk, the character moves. Because in the first season, you could see that they cut corners. Because like when a character would talk, it would kind of be like some anime where the body wouldn't move, but the mouth, eyebrows, and eyes would, because they're like cutting corners and they have to rush these episodes out. And it makes sense because the first season of Invincible, each episode was an hour long. That's really long for animation. And that's probably why it's taking them so long, because they're doing hour-long episodes with this new bouncier animation. So you just gotta accept it. But it looks way better. But also, the creator of Invincible, Robert Kirkman, I think is his name, said that gave us an update on the live-action movie being written and directed by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, who are also producers of the cartoon. So if anyone had any doubts about the movie, I'd say don't, because they are also involved with the cartoon and know the source material. But he said the show has not halted the process of making the movie. If anything, it's escalated it, made it easier for somebody to invest in the project. And I think they said Universal was involved in making it, and they said they really liked it. I think it was Universal, or it could have been, no, I'm pretty sure it was Universal. But yeah, that movie is not in trouble. They are still making it. I assume they're going to start working on that after their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie comes out, which I'm also very excited for. But I'll save that conversation for when we actually get a trailer for it. But yeah, I think overall, Invincible Season 2 is going to be fantastic, and that movie is going to be great once we see more of it. Also, they did tease that there will be an encounter between Invincible and, oh my god, what's his name? The other Superman type character. Like, you had Omni-Man, and then you had the one he fought and killed. Oh god, it's something stupid. I don't know, but it's a fight between them two. So that's cool that they're adapting that from the comic. I also want to see them adapt Mark and Eve's relationship more. Now that Amber, actually no, I just rewatched the show. How did I not remember this? At the end, Amber and Mark get back together. So I wonder how they're gonna do that between Eve and Mark. They're gonna have them break up again, or maybe they're changing it completely and Eve and Mark won't get together. Also, spoilers for the comic. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Brief spoilers for the comic. I mean, I guess people kind of know that they get together. I'm not going to say anything else about the show, though. Oh, wow. I'm sorry. Actually, you know what? One more spoiler. You can skip this. I'll try to put a timestamp if you don't want to hear it. But I hope they adapt the Invincible War. If you don't know, it's like a multiverse type story where Mark needs help fighting off a certain threat. And he goes and gets all the other Invincibles from different dimensions. And throughout that, you also find out that in a lot of timelines, Mark turns out like his dad. Like a lot of timelines, he goes with his dad and becomes this person that Omni-Man wants him to be. So that's a really cool story. But I think the show, honestly, I think we're going to get everything. I think this show is going to adapt all 144 issues. Amazon is not like Netflix. They are not known for canceling shows and animation. So hopefully we'll get an adaptation of everything. I really hope so. Speaking of Netflix, though, this is a little bit old news, but it's really disappointing to me because they went on a rampage again of canceling things, and they canceled one of my favorite animated shows ever, and I think I'm going to talk about it more in the what am I watching segment of the episode. That'll be at the end. But they canceled Inside Job, and I love that show. It's just like, it's kind of like a satirical of all the conspiracy theories in the world, and saying that they're all real and the government controls everything, which it was just a really good cartoon. I would recommend that to everyone. Honestly, it was really good. It's unfortunate that Netflix cancels everything. I don't think we'll ever escape Netflix being stupid, which sucks because obviously they're the biggest streaming subscription service ever. But whatever. And Netflix sucks. I don't pay for it though, so it's fine. Next in the news circuit, Neil Druckmann. With the release of The Last of Us show, he has been on his little interview stages and all that stuff, and he talked about the future of of Naughty Dog video games that everyone knows and loves, obviously. So when it comes to The Last of Us, he commented on the potential of a part 3, and he said that I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said that if they find a story that involves love and can continue these characters, they'll make it. If it's good, they'll make it. But as of right now, they don't have that, and he believes that part 2 had a very good conclusion to the universe. So if they never find that story, he is okay with letting that rest. I think that's a load of crap. I'm pretty sure part 3 is probably already in development. Like, you wouldn't say that. I don't know. Maybe he would. Maybe he's stupid. But, like, part 3 is definitely going to happen. Like, The Last of Us is getting way too big, especially with the show, for it to not happen. There's just no possible future in my brain where money won't get in the way and they won't make that game. If they're not already making it. Like, I'm positive they are. There was leaks a while ago saying that they were. And I would say I'm like 60-40, 60 leaning in the direction of they're in the process of already making it. But we'll see. Maybe we'll see that at E3 once the show is concluded, and everyone's still riding the hype of The Last of Us. Everyone is like, "Where's the next part?" And we'll get that announcement most likely, as long as you don't make me play as Abby. But that's a whole other thing. And then he also brought up the potential of a Uncharted 5, and he shut that down immediately. He said that chapter of Naughty Dog has been closed and it's over. So Nathan Drake will not be returning. As far as we know, Uncharted 4 was it. And honestly, I think I'm okay with that. It sucks because, for anyone who doesn't know, Uncharted 4 is my favorite game of all time. It used to be The Last of Us, but Uncharted 4 trumped it, and Naughty Dog is just one of my favorite studios out there. And I would have liked to see Nathan continue, but I don't think we need it because Uncharted 4 was a great conclusion, and presumably once that game ended, he didn't go on any more crazy adventures. He was set for life. He had a daughter with Elena, and they were happy. So in a way, you would kind of have to either continue the franchise after the fact when Nathan is already older and he has his daughter, or you would have to kind of retcon that ending and make it so he still did go on more adventures after Uncharted 4, which I wouldn't really like because I like the conclusion of him only doing the 4 games and then being able to pretty much retire in a beach house with his family. I think it's a great conclusion. If you wanted to continue the Uncharted games, maybe you could do a prequel where you play as like a young Sully. I could see that happening because he was already in the game for presumably years before he met Nathan in when he was a kid. Or you could even make a game about Sam. Sam is pretty much a brand new character in Uncharted 4. Like, he was never hinted at before. He was created for Uncharted 4. And if we want to see more of his story, then make a game about him. Make him the new Nathan Drake, pretty much. I think he's charismatic enough to do it. I believe it was Troy Baker who voiced that character. So just bring Troy Baker back, and then maybe have Nathan Drake cameo at the end or at some point, or have him in a phone call to continue that universe. I think the Uncharted universe can live on, but I think Nathan Drake's story is over. I think he has a good enough conclusion. He has some great games. Each game gets better than the last. I think you don't really need to continue that. So I commend them for realizing that Uncharted 4 is a great stopping point and not digging that universe, deeper into the ground and killing it. Because if anything, that would make me very sad. Like, I don't want that universe to be tainted. Because, again, like, I do believe that each game got better. Because my ranking is 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, each game gets better than the last in combat, in traversal, in writing, just everything, the story. And I love in Uncharted 4 that they divert your expectations and don't let it get too crazy with, like, some like skeletons coming to life, or these abominable, is that how you say that word? Abominable snowmen in Uncharted 2 or anything like that. I'm just happy that they went away from that and made it a little bit more of a grounded Indiana Jones type story. But yeah, I don't want that universe to be tainted with a 5th game that could potentially be bad. So I'm alright with them ending Nathan Drake's story. In the universe of Naughty Dog as well, as I mentioned, the Uncharted TV show is coming out. As I'm recording this, we are 2 episodes in. We're getting episode 3 in a few days, and so far so good. I mean, this show is proving that it is worth it. It's worth it. It's justified in being made because it's fantastic, and it takes liberties with the source material that actually kind of improves upon it. Like, to get in, I'm going to get into slight spoilers here for a second, but Sarah, Joel's daughter, right? In the first game, we see her for a few minutes. You play as her briefly, very, very briefly. And it makes it very emotional when her eventual demise comes. But in the show, we spend a lot more time with her, and we see what she was doing prior to that night when Joel got home from work. And it makes that scene, that dreadful scene, that much more emotional. And I think the show really benefits from having the source material and knowing where it goes, but being able to expand upon it and change it a little bit. And I think that you don't really have to play the game, because it's such a faithful adaptation so far that you're getting everything you need from it, plus more. So if you're not into playing video games, or if the gameplay bores you too much because it's tedious, which is completely understandable, you don't have to play it. because it's just this good, and the casting is spot on. Like Bella Ramsey as Ellie is perfect, and Pedro Pascal as Joel is one of the best castings I've ever seen. Like he's spot on, and he takes liberties with the character that I actually kind of like more than the video game. I like more than the original. And even Troy Baker himself said that he kind of prefers Pedro's Joel over his own, which is an insane thing to say because you were this character for so long, and this game is so highly, it's put on a pedestal to being one of the best games ever. And for Joel himself to say that Pedro is doing a better job in some ways, it really gives you the confidence you need to go into this show. I will say I think they marketed I think they marketed this show terribly, because some people, a part of it, are stupid, and they're like, yeah, The Last of Us was the first game ever to not be Mario, where you jump around and hitting blocks. It's the first game where you really feel emotion, and you really feel that it's not just pixels on a screen, it's a movie you're watching. Are you stupid? Why would you market the show like that? Why would you say that The Last of Us is the first game to do that? Like, not even paying attention to games outside of Naughty Dog, right? Like you are discrediting other Naughty Dog games, like Uncharted, which also got an adaptation that wasn't even close to how good this one was, but it also got an adaptation, and you're saying that wasn't as emotional as The Last of Us? It's baffling how bad the marketing is for this show, and I think it turned some people off. But I mean, after the first 2 episodes came out, those people were converted because it's just that good, and their statements are backed by how good the show is. But I just think that they're so dumb for saying that this is the one and only game that can get that emotion out of a viewer, because that just doesn't make any sense. There's so many games out there that can do that. I mean, hell, even a Spider-Man game did that to me. Like I was bawling my eyes out at the end of Spider-Man PS4. Like, The Last of Us isn't the only emotional game that doesn't involve you hitting blocks like Mario. Like, whoever is advertising hasn't played a video game since the 90s, and that is very clear. So I'm just saying, it's in the past, but maybe fire that guy now, because that guy is so stupid. But yeah, it takes some liberties. I think it's just a very good adaptation, so check it out. I have some friends who aren't watching it until it's all out, which I kind of wish I could do that, but I don't have willpower strong enough to resist watching week to week. I just think it's that good. And the next episode is going to be 80 minutes long. The first episode was, I think, an hour and a half, and then the second one was only 45 minutes, but the next one's going to be longer, and I'm super excited for that. But once this is all out, like once the entire series is out, it's going to be such a roller coaster, and I'm going to rewatch the whole thing for sure. It's going to be so good. It's just such a good adaptation. The marketing is backed because of how good it is, but the marketing is also just really, really stupid for everything that they said. So that is kind of the end of the news segment as of right now. Actually, there is one more piece of news. Tom Taylor, the writer of one of my favorite Nightwing runs since Chuck Dixon, just announced that he will be writing the next Teen Titans run. Well, not Teen Titans, but Titans run. And the team is the new Teen Titans lineup, like the original new Teen Titans lineup. We have Nightwing as the leader, Raven, Starfire, Cyborg, Beast Boy, Donna Troy, and Kid Flash. The perfect Teen Titans lineup, in my opinion. And it's not Kid Flash. It's Wally West as the Flash, because that's who he is in the comics now. And he has his Justice League cartoon costume. Like, he is the Flash. He's not Kid Flash anymore, which is fantastic. And I recommend you guys read that Nightwing run, because a lot of people are criticizing it because it's a little bit of like a slice of life comic where there's not too much fighting. It's more about Dick Grayson going through life and having a relationship with Barbara Gordon and having his new dog and learning how to adjust to a new lifestyle after he gained some money. And I just think it's a great character piece for Dick Grayson. So if you love that character, 100% read that comic book. But yeah, that's most of the news for this. And pretty good news day. Pretty good news day, I think. I'm just going to take a sip of water, though, because I need it for sustenance. I want to get into the meat of this episode. I recently watched the movie Chronicle for the first time. The movie that got a sex criminal on the map. Max Landis, the guy who wrote Bright, who said Bright is going to be the next Star Wars, starring Will Smith being friends with an orc. That guy. This was the movie that got him street cred. It is a found footage superpower movie, not superhero, superpower. I'm gonna be honest. I think it's overrated. I don't know. I got some things to say about this movie, but let me clarify why I think it's overrated. Right. This movie has found a new life on TikTok and Instagram. It's become very popular recently. Or a few months back, I'm sorry. It just took me a while to actually get to the movie. But yeah, it became very popular, and there was clips popping up from this movie every day for me. But they were all the same clips, right? It was two or three clips of the characters learning how to use their powers. Which, in my opinion, is one of the best parts of movies like this, right? You see these characters gain abilities that they didn't think were possible, and then they get into wacky antics learning how to use these abilities. So there's like two or three clips that were circulating online of the characters, learning how to fly and realizing what kind of powers they had. And I was like, wow, this movie looks really cool. This movie looks really fun. I've been hearing about it for a really long time. It's found footage. It's from when found footage was really popular in horror movies, but these guys decided to make it about a superhero, a superpowered like trio, and that's a really cool idea. I need to check out this movie, and it took me a while. So as I was waiting to check out this movie, I would see these clips just every day, right? And every time I see it, I would save it so I would remember to watch it, but I never got around to watching it. And then, like, this past week, I was like, you know what? Every night, I'm going to watch a new movie that I've never seen before. So I watched The Prestige, and I watched Zodiac, and I watched The Menu, which recently came out. So obviously, I never saw that, but I watched that, and I thought it was really cool. And then finally, I was like, you know what? I'm finally going to watch that movie. I'm finally going to watch the Michael B. Jordan superhero movie that I wanted to watch for a while. So I put it on. And I was underwhelmed. Oh, and the reason is because this movie has a 90-minute runtime. I think it might be slightly shorter than that. And because of that, the 2 or 3 scenes of the characters learning how to use their new abilities are the only scenes in the movie like that. And that being one of my favorite parts of movies like this, I was like, I already know everything. That sucks. And because the runtime is so short, those 2 or 3 scenes take up the whole like middle section of the movie. So I already knew everything. The only things that were new was the beginning and the end. So I'm not gonna fault this movie for underwhelming me. I'm faulting social media for making me underwhelmed. Now, again, it is my fault. This movie has been out for a really long time, and I took a long time to watch it. But I do have other criticisms of the movie. Don't worry, that's not my only criticism. I'm just clarifying as to why I felt a bit underwhelmed. But let's get into the meat of why I'm not a big fan of this film. So my biggest criticism is that the found footage formula takes away from a lot of really good moments in the movie. So obviously found footage movies are strictly from the perspective of the character holding the camera. It's like they're holding a camcorder or they're recording with their phone, but the entire movie is from that perspective. You cannot have any other cameras recording because they would break the immersion, right? But because of that, there are moments that you would want to see, but it would make no sense for the character to be recording, or something happens where they can't record, so we don't see those moments, if that makes sense. So with a movie, what's the famous horror movie that is found footage, like the super famous one? It's not Insidious, right? God, this is so stupid. I need to look this up now. But there's this horror movie, and in it they use security camera footage, which I will say this movie does use security cameras a little bit, but not in the moments that I want them to. They use it in stupid moments that I don't really care about. But why can't I think of the movie? I'm so stupid, dude. I'm so dumb. It's like super famous. I should know. Holy crap! I'm gonna hurt myself. Come on! I can't even find it online. Oh my god! What is wrong with me? Come on, please, Where is it? The Blair Witch Project, right? Is that it? No. Paranormal Activity. So in those movies, I guess both movies, they use security camera footage and they record themselves while they sleep and all that stuff. So we see the moments that we really want to see. But in Chronicle, the main character is recording because of some things that happen at home. But he also brings the camera to school to record that, and he records parties and all that stuff. But because it's a camera, certain things happen, like a thunderstorm, or the thing that gives them their power shorts out the camera, and the camera cuts. So you can't see those moments, right? Which is fine, that's fine. But they also take liberties in time jumps. But if you're recording everything, I feel like these time jumps wouldn't make any sense. So in the movie, there's a time jump from when they get their powers, from the inciting incident to when they have their powers. And in that time jump, we see the characters already using their powers, well aware of what kind of powers they have and what they can do. That is stupid. I think it would have been cool to see a scene from after the fact that they don't realize anything happened. Maybe it's like the next day and they wake up in their beds, or they wake up near the crater site and they're like, what happened? And he's recording because he's like, holy crap, what happened? And the crater's closed and all that stuff. And then they discover they have powers, and then you can kind of jump around to that scene of them knowing what kind of powers they have, and they lift the Lego pieces, right? They don't do that. They skip over an entire scene like that. Now, as I'm saying this, I kind of do realize that it kind of makes sense in the context, because he might have been freaked out and he might have not recorded, but the character, Dane DeHaan's character, is like set up to be a weirdo who records everything no matter what. So I feel like in that instance, he still would have turned the camera back on to be like, holy crap, what just happened? I need to record this. But again, this is all adding to the fact that the found footage format kind of takes away from this movie and everything that it could be potentially. So there is a scene that involves a character death in the film, right? And because it's found footage, a certain thing happens that shorts out the camera. And then we cut straight to that character's funeral. And it's like, but we didn't see how, or we didn't see why, and we didn't say where this thing came from that killed him. And now we're just at this funeral, and the person involved doesn't seem fazed, and it's like this feels wrong. It just feels like there could have been so much more to it, and it just kind of disappointed me in that fact. But I want to say more about these topics, but in the spoiler section, I had to cut briefly because some things happened in my house. But you see what I mean? Like, I just feel like there could have the format of the movie that was chosen is a cool idea, but it takes away from a lot of what could have been and what could have made the movie cooler. So, I don't know. I think overall, I kind of give this movie a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's a solid watch. It's not a superhero movie. It's a movie about teenagers getting superpowers and what those teenagers would realistically do with those superpowers. And I think in that sense, it captures it very well. I just think that the format of the movie chosen limits it in a lot of ways. And I also think that it's not the strongest script. I think it's too short as well. The runtime also takes away from a lot of what we could have seen. So 3.5 out of 5 stars. Enjoyable. Would I recommend? Sure. I'm not going to badger someone to watch it, but I'll say if they want that type of movie, go watch it. So let's get into spoilers. So Dane DeHaan's character, as I mentioned, also, I want to punch that guy in the face. I want to punch him so bad. He's a little rat boy. I hated him as Green Goblin, and this came out before that, and he's even more of a rat boy in this. I hate his little face. He's so stupid. He's so dumb looking. I want to throw him. I want to throw him across. His character gets abused by his father. So that is why he's recording everything. He's abused. So first off, that doesn't really come back, right? Because you start it and he's like, "Hey, just so you know, I'm recording, so if you hit me, something bad is going to happen." He records his dad hitting him multiple times, and he never takes it to the cops or anything like that, as far as we see. But his dad doesn't get arrested at any point, so I'm just going to assume he never takes it to the cops. So it doesn't make any sense as to why he's recording, but that's the inciting incident of what makes him record. We're then introduced to his cousin, I believe, who drives him to school and who's pretty much his only friend. And the movie, it shows kind of their relationship is not the strongest. And then we see them at school and everyone's wondering why he's recording, why he has this giant camera. He starts recording cheerleaders, he gets asked to stop, etc., etc. They end up at a party, and this is where we get introduced to Michael B. Jordan's character. He's like this varsity guy who's running for student body president. He's great at sports, he's super popular, he's charismatic. You know, Michael B. Jordan is playing himself pretty much. But he asks Dane DeHaan's character to come record this because him and Dane's cousin, I don't know the character names. I didn't bother looking them up. I could look them up, but I'm not going to. His cousin and Michael B. Jordan found this crater site. So they go to the crater, and somehow Michael B. Jordan's character like ninja jumps in. That was crazy. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. It's nuts. He like dives in and that's besides the point. They see a meteorite with a bunch of glowing random crystals that we have no idea what they do. They're like, wow, it's so pretty. They touch it. And then this is where that time jump that I was talking about comes in. The energy surge or whatever happened from the meteorite shorts out the camera, turns off, and then all of a sudden the next clip picks up and they're in a bedroom levitating Legos, and Dane's character is already good at like building an entire tower with Legos, but we didn't see how they discovered this power. We didn't see how they got it. There was no explanation as to why they got it, and we never get an explanation as to how they got it, and we never get an explanation as to when they realized they had this power and how they learned how to use it. You see what I mean? There's like this weird time jump that just doesn't make any sense to me, and it's because of the found footage thing where they just decided not to record. So that's kind of like the justification as to why that's not there, but I don't think that's a good enough reason. Like, I would have liked an extra scene explaining all of that. And I know, again, a lot of people are going to be like, stop complaining, it's context clues. But it just would have been a stronger movie if you gave me that scene. I get context clues. I got the context clues. Thank you. it just would have been stronger if you added that. So then we get the cool scenes that I was talking about of like the learning how to use their powers even more, and eventually we get to a part where Michael B. Jordan discovers that he can fly, that they can all fly. We get a cool little part where they're trying to learn, and the cousin character like falls on his face and blah blah blah. They learn how to fly, and then they get that really cool flying scene. One of the scenes that was spoiled for me, on TikTok and stuff. Whatever. We get that scene. And then we get a little bit of like forced, in my opinion, like friendship. So rightfully so, I guess you're supposed to assume that while this is all happening, Michael B. Jordan and Dane DeHaan's characters are growing closer together, and at some point they refer to each other as best friends. But I don't get that vibe at all. Like the story has not given me anything to really justify them calling each other best friends, and it just doesn't feel right to me. So let's talk about the character death I was talking about. The best character in the movie, Michael B. Jordan's character dies. Now this is incredibly stupid, right? So this scene is following a scene where Dane DeHaan's character is beaten by his dad, right? And he finally stands up to his dad and beats him back. Then we see his character fly off into the sky. And I'm not sure, I don't really remember how, but Michael B. Jordan ends up in the sky as well, flying, and he's trying to talk to him. And this is when he says that, like, you're my best friend. We've stood up for each other. It's going to be fine. And then Dane DeHaan's character becomes a Sith, and since he's so angry, he uses a power that we had no idea existed, and he summons lightning. Like, he summons lightning and zaps Michael B. Jordan's character. Now, we don't see that happen, but obviously that's how he dies. But because he summons lightning, it cuts the camera. And then the following scene is his funeral. Like, there's so much that happens in between that scene and that we just don't see, and it really bothers me. And then at the funeral, his character has no remorse. Like, he doesn't feel bad about it at all. And if you really want me to believe that they were best friends, show me some emotion. Now, I think the point of that is because his character is kind of becoming, I guess, the antagonist of the film, right? But come on, give him a little bit of humanity. Like show some remorse. I just feel like it's so rushed. And again, that's saying that the runtime really affects it, because we don't get time for that. They just have to go, And right after that, we're pretty much at the final act of the movie, where I just kind of forgot this entire part existed, but it leads into the ending. But Dane DeHaan's mother is like sick throughout the entire movie, and towards the end, they don't have money for her medicine, so he decides to become a bank robber. Not a bank robber, like a convenience store thief. And he uses his powers. He blows a gas station up and burns himself alive. He doesn't die from it, but it's so stupid. It's so dumb. Like, come on, dude. You could just fly away. You don't have to fight him. Like, he's got a shotgun. Why would you do that? Just fly away. You can zoom off so quickly, and yet you decided to fight back, and you get blown up and caught, and then you get arrested. So you have no choice but to become the bad guy, because you just messed up so severely. It's all your fault. You're such a terrible, dumb character. It's just all your fault. But yeah, that leads to the final act. The cousin character is like, he's not completely sure if he killed Michael B. Jordan's character, but he's pretty positive he did. And then on the news, it shows that Dane's character is terrorizing a city, and he's going to kill his dad. So they rush, and they have this big fight, and then inevitably Dane's character dies, blah blah blah, and then the only surviving member of the trio is the cousin, and uh, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the entire movie. It moves at a breakneck pace because of the runtime. And again, I just think it really could have benefited from a longer runtime. And I was just underwhelmed by the movie entirely. And I think that Michael B. Jordan's character dies way too soon because, in my opinion, he was the best part of the film. He brought the most life to it, and I just think that he could have been a really good choice. Here's what I would have changed. I would have had Dane's character kill off the cousin, right? Because I think the cousin was a little bit of a nothing character. He was like the neutral good character. I think you could have killed him off, and then as you developed Michael B. Jordan, I really wish I knew their character names, but I'm too lazy to look it up. I'm so sorry. But as you progressed Dane's and Michael's friendship, after their death, their friendship then drifts apart again, and then it's the final battle is between them two, and then once Michael B. Jordan's character kills Dane's character, then you have him travel the world and go to. I forgot to mention they talked about going like escaping to a monastery earlier, and in the end, yeah, but you get it. Then you have him go to the monastery and be like, "This is for you. You were my best friend at one point. I'm sorry for what I did." I think that would have been a way better movie, and you would have kept Michael B. Jordan's character and his charisma throughout the rest of the film, and you wouldn't have lost such a good actor so early on, because his death happens halfway through the movie, I'm pretty sure. I just think that would have been a better way of structuring it, a better conclusion. Dang, I didn't think about that until just now. That really would have been better if his character lived and the cousin character died. And that's no fault to the cousin character's actor. I don't know. I should have looked up his name because I feel so dumb. But that's no fault to the actor. I just don't think he had as much good material as Michael B. Jordan did, and obviously he's a fantastic actor who's gone on to do great things since then. It just would have been nice to see him stick around a little bit longer in the movie. But yeah, that's most of what I wanted to say about Chronicle. I think it's just kind of a mid film. Like, I don't think that it's worth the hype. I think it got too much hype, and that's kind of what spoiled the viewing for me. Also, it doesn't really help that it was made by a sex criminal, so just because of that, I will say don't watch it. And that is Brandon's seal of approval. Thank you. Anyway, let's move on to the next segment of the show. What I've been up to, what I've been watching, what I've been reading, all that stuff. So obviously the Last of Us show, that's been keeping my attention. I actually rewatched the first episode before episode 2 came out, so I've already seen that episode twice. It's just really good, man. Like I already said, it's just really fantastic. I love it. And then the other thing I've been consistently watching is something I am slightly guilty to admit that I've been watching as consistently as I have. I put it on every morning when I wake up and every night before I go to bed. It's a little show known as Teen Titans Go. I talked about this on my page a little bit, but I don't know, man. I really love it. It really clicks something in my brain for some reason. Like, it really scratches an itch. Because, obviously, as everyone else was, I was really upset when they canceled the original show, right? And it's like, you really replaced the original show with such a terrible reboot? Like, you really did that? Are you serious? Why would you ever do that? But once you get past that, and once you go into it, and you're like, this is a parody. This is not meant to be a serious thing. This is a complete parody of everything involving the DC universe. It becomes a really enjoyable time. And as I was watching it, I was like, the first season is a little bit more kids showish, and don't get me wrong, they never really escape fart jokes and stuff, and that's whatever, you get past that. But later on, they start to reference a lot more of the DC universe and a lot more of like the expanded universe, and they start to make like really deep cut jokes the most obvious one that a lot of people reference is that in a Batcave episode, there's Jason Todd's ashes and a crowbar is leaned up against it. Like, that joke's not for kids. That joke is for people who know what happened, and that's messed up. Like, that's so terrible. And, like, you know that means something coming from me, because Dick Grayson is my favorite fictional character of all time, and this show makes Robin pathetic. Like, the most pathetic human being ever. Like, he is the biggest simp for Starfire. He is probably one of the most annoying characters ever. But, you just have to laugh. You just have to laugh at it. Like, because if I took this seriously and I was like, that's not Dick Grayson, I would hate this show so much. But I just don't care. It's just a fun time. And, Beast Boy is fantastic. And he has bars. He sings some fire songs. And then there's like episodes dedicated to Dungeons and Dragons and episodes that are like in a different art style, right? And there's like a whole episode that's pretty much like a glorified music video. And then they go back to the old Titans animation sometimes, and a recent episode I watched, they went back to like 60s era DC animation stuff, and it's a really cool show that has deep cuts to people that are my age or way older, and then there's also content for kids. It's a really good balance, I'd say. And then obviously the Teen Titans Go to the movies is a great movie. Like all around, it's just a really good movie. And I'm really glad that the show has started to get recognition for being actually funny and not just some terrible replacement for the old show, because that's really not what it is. Like, I think that the old show might have gotten canceled no matter what. And then the original cast, like all the original cast, got an opportunity to come back for this show, and they still have a job. So I'm not going to fault it for that. Like, I think it's just a really good watch. Like, it's a fun time. And then most recently, like the most recent episode I watched went back to the Batcave, right? But this time they explore upstairs, like they explore Wayne Manor. And Dick Grayson's like, I grew up here, this is my house. And the team's like, oh, you were filthy rich, you must have had so many cool things. And he's like, no, Batman trained me to never really let the money control me, never really get things I don't need. And then we see Dick Grayson's room, and he's living like All-Star Robin. Like, if you don't know what All-Star Batman and Robin is, in that, Batman is a bastard, and he makes Dick Grayson eat rats to survive. He makes him eat rats. In Teen Titans Go, we learn that Robin, upstairs in the Wayne Manor in a mansion, lived in a little hobbit hole that had a bucket for the bathroom, blankets, and one pillow on concrete floor, and it has like mold and grime like building up in the corners, and he has no posters of anything he likes, and he just has like a punching bag and some weights with cobwebs on it, and that's where he lived with no natural sunlight. And remember, this is in the hallways of Wayne Manor, like a giant mansion with big rooms and bathrooms everywhere, but he was in this little hobbit hole living like a rat. Like, that is so messed up, but the show gets away with it because it's a kid's show. I just think it's a great watch. If you've never watched it because you spite it, go into it realizing that it's a different thing, it's a parody, and it's a great time. You'll have fun. Trust me. I recommend it. But yeah, that has really been taking up most of my time. I've been trying to make my way through the Invincible comics, but I'm not done yet. And yeah, that's mostly what I just recommend that you guys go watch Teen Titans Go. It's just a fun time. I feel like you won't regret it. But thank you guys for listening to this episode. I actually recorded this entire episode before, and it wasn't good. The audio wasn't great. I had a lot of interruptions. So I scrapped it and I started again. But I think this one was better. So I'm grateful that I did that. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys are interested in seeing what I'm up to outside of the podcast, follow me at Good for Nothing Pod on Instagram, and I'm going to be making a Twitter account, so you can follow me there as well. And then if you want to see the YouTube channel and my personal Instagram and TikTok and all that stuff, you can follow me at Brandon MYT, BRANDN MYT, on everything. So follow me, subscribe, all that stuff, and subscribe to the Good for Nothing YouTube channel and follow me on Spotify. That's the only two platforms I have this on right now. I don't really know how to get Apple Music and stuff, but I feel like I don't need it yet. So yeah, thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. This was really fun.